What's going on, guys? Curtis Evans here, back in with a brand new video on this channel. And as you know from last night, from my YouTube short video, my Instagram reel, my TikTok video, that news emerged. The US owners, Steve Kaplan and Jason Levien, are finally leaving Swansea City. Come on! Obviously, you don't realise how happy I am seeing these two crooks leaving my club after 8 years under suffering under them. And they have brought nothing but shame to my club. As you know from my rants in the past and also my infamous "you greedy bastards, get out of our club" chant at Bristol City in 2019.
Get out of our club! Get out of our club! Get out of our club! You greedy bastards! Get out of our club!
Yeah, obviously it became an internet meme somehow, and I can't believe how popular that was. But anyway, let's retell the story again, shall we? The trouble all started after Swansea City beat Chelsea 1-0 on the 9th of April 2016. We were all going home happy, and then news came out that we were in talks with American investors, Jason Levien and Steve Kaplan. When I first saw it, I was like, this is an interesting look. We were a mid-table Premier League side. We finished 12th in the head, if I believe, on that season. They took full control in July 2016. And their first season in charge of the club, we only just survived by the skin of our teeth. And not only that, they sacked Francisco Guidolin harshly and appointed Bob Bradley, which was nothing short of a disaster of an appointment. On why Francisco Guidolin was sacked harshly was because all our losses building up to his sack were against the big clubs, Man City, Liverpool. Well, we lost to Man City twice even, because we lost them in the Carabao Cup just before we played them in the Premier League. We lost to Leicester, who were the title holders in that season, and also Southampton, who were around about the European spots. These are the teams we lost to during the losing run of Francisco Guidolin. We saw him get sacked. How harsh was that? Bob Bradley, why on earth did we appoint him? No Premier League experience, terrible footballing style, and all he did was helping us gain that dramatic 5-4 win against Crystal Palace in the 93rd minute. I think it's more the players more than him, because we actually went 3-1 up and went 4-3 down, and then Fernando Llorente did his miracle to win 5-4, beat Sunderland 3-0, and that's about it really. But other than that though, absolutely diabolical under him, and it was absolutely painful to watch. And we were lucky enough not to be relegated because of him. Obviously that season, Paul Clement did the job, kept us up, and then the following season, it turned more doom and gloom as Swansea City were relegated from the Premier League back to the Championship after 7 straight seasons up in the Premier League. And obviously we know who the exact blame is. The owners, of course, Jason Levien, Steve Kaplan, showed a lack of investment and a lack of ambition, sold out. This is why we got relegated, because of your actions, Jason Levien, Steve Kaplan. And then, of course, life in the Championship began where Carlos Carvajal left the club, who was the manager when we got relegated from the Premier League at the time, replaced by Graham Potter, who we got from Östersund in Sweden. He had no English football managerial experience, but he does have English football experience as a player. Promising young manager, plays nice football, and he was let down in his first season at the club. Like, we had a massive fire sale, leaving us with 1 fit senior centre-back, 3 fit midfielders, 1 fit striker, with a lot of the players bemused by all and what was happening. Ryan Woodsdale collapsing last minute. And, like, that fire sale was out of order. That club was destroyed. And I was very worried that we would do a Sunderland in 2017-18 season of Championship, where they went from the Premier League down to League One. They're on their way back up now as we speak. Sunderland, they're doing very well this season, trying to get back to Premier League at top as it stands. Fair dues because they're a massive club at the end of the day, and I was worried that we would end up being the same as well. But lucky enough for the Yanks, we had promising youngsters, and they developed through the first team, and they had a wicked first season at our club. Like, about the Ryan Woods deal, we've refused to pay an extra 500k. Like, where all that money for Gylfi Sigurdsson went, 45 million, where we sold him to Everton, where'd that all go? Apparently, he was on Wayne Rooney's wages when he was at DC United, DC United's new stadium, and that season, Jason Levien was partying with DC United fans, jumping around with, I think it's his kids, on his shoulders and bouncing around, and I was infuriated seeing that video of him. Well, about that disastrous deadline day in the summer in 2018, there were loads of rumours going around at the time as well that Graham Potter resigned after 1 game. Could you imagine that actually happened? Like, could you imagine? I kind of wouldn't blame him, to be honest with you, but he did leave eventually the next summer, where he went on to coach Brighton and Hove Albion. I mean, we had a very good season under Graham Potter in our first season back down Championship and finishing 10th. I thought we did very well with a wafer thin squad. I think if you invested more in players under Graham Potter, I think we could have been up there near the top 6, I reckon. If you backed him more, is what it could have been. And also saying that about the transfer windows, in January 2019, we didn't sign any players at all, which totally let down Graham Potter again, let down all the fans, and Dan James nearly went to Leeds first time around. A loan deal was agreed by Jason Levien and the Leeds United owner, and Hugh Jenkins, our former chairman, pulled the plug on the deal. Well done, Hugh Jenkins, for doing that. You absolute hero. I mean, he was a hero at the club in the first place, but he does take responsibility in selling the club to the owners and why this mess was made in the first place. Like Hugh, who is currently the chairman or owner at Newport County, you should have looked in the first place, mate, because I don't think any of this would have happened, if I'm honest with you. And after Graham Potter left for Brighton, Steve Cooper was a man to replace him. He got us to the playoffs in back-to-back seasons, which was really good. We were so close to the Premier League return twice under him, losing twice to Brentford in respective seasons. In the semi-final, first season, lost 3-2 to Brentford on aggregate. And then in the playoff final, in the following season, we lost 2-0 to them at Wembley. Like, we were so unfortunate. But at the same time, though, we didn't have a proper striker that season, or we lost 2-0 to Brentford in the playoff final. Levien, Kaplan, if you'd bought a striker, this is what it could have been. We could have gone up if you bought a proper striker. And Steve Cooper left the club in the summer because of a lack of money. Where was all that money gone? And look what happened then, the following season. He took over Nottingham Forest, where Chris Hughton got sacked in September. And guess what he did? He guided them to the Premier League. This is what it could have been. And then Russell Martin would replace Steve Cooper. Now, Russell Martin, the first time we had him, obviously the first season we had him, it was all about timing. And we finished 15th, which didn't really go to plan. But again, it was just a season about change, about timing. And then the second season under Russell Martin, we finished 10th. And we did very well to finish 10th. We had a 9-game unbeaten run, 7 of those being wins. What a job Russell Martin did. And we actually had a wafer-thin squad in the second half of the season because of our owners. And that season, Russell Martin actually threatened to walk away after January 2023 transfer window. It was just like the January transfer window 2019 in the winter, where we failed to sign a single player. And Carlin Grant, we were meant to sign on loan from West Bromwich Albion, fell through last minute. You couldn't have summed it up, innit? Like, Russell Martin was promised that he would be getting players in January, and the owners and Andy Coleman, obviously the current chairman now, who is set to take full control of the club for enough, who I'll talk more about later, promised Russell Martin that we would be signing players and say they would invest. No. How did that go? Went well, didn't it? 0 signings, even though you promised a manager. Like, it's not the first time they've let down a manager. As well as Russell Martin, they've let down Graham Potter and Steve Cooper. Like, I don't blame them for leaving at all. Russell Martin would then eventually leave in the summer for Southampton, which I don't blame him for. I know he's like a Premier League quality squad, but he was backed by their owners and their board. And he took them up to the Premier League, like back up after one season, back down the Championship. Again, it's what it could have been. It's a what ifs if you've backed the managers. Because we could have been promoted to the Premier League twice if you backed them properly. Southampton, probably different to Nottingham Forest. They had a Premier League squad already and some parachute payments. But at the same time, though, Premier League quality squads and teams with parachute payments have flopped throughout seasons. And you get some teams who are unexpected to go up, like Ipswich Town, for example. They come up from League One last season, well, the season before last season, and then they went up to the Premier League, back-to-back promotions. See what I mean, like? And then after Russell Martin's departure, things took a more disastrous turn, where they hired Paul Watson as a sporting director. Gotta mention Paul Watson in this video, where apparently he was part of Luton Town's successful story in being promoted to the Premier League for the first time. I believe it was the first time they were promoted to the Premier League, but yeah, apparently he was part of it all, where he signed all the players, he hired the right managers, but no, he was nothing to do with it. We were told by Luton fans, where he was basically, what I describe it, a toilet cleaner. That's how I describe it, toilet cleaner. And then we appointed Michael Duff to replace Russell Martin. On paper, you think it was a good appointment, but that was a disastrous appointment. Moved away from the Swansea way totally. Signed the wrong players, £8 million down the drain on players who don't suit the club, who don't suit the right style of football. We would eventually sack Michael Duff, which was good. I think it was Andy Coleman that did that, thankfully. And after a long wait, like just over a month, of Michael Duff's sacking, we eventually got Luke Williams, who was Russell Martin's apprentice in our first season under him. And he brings back the Swansea way. But then there was a lack of signings, really. We have only signed Ronald, Premishaw Placheta, and Charles Sago Jr., who were all wingers. No one else, really, that we needed. And I thought Luke Williams was on the verge of being let down by the board as well. And when it came to the summer, I mean, we signed better players by then. We're ninth in the table currently. I'm more than happy where we are now. But at the same time, more work was needed to be done. Basically, in certain areas, we're thin on options. Ollie Cooper for 3 months. We're really thin on attacking midfielder options. We're pretty thin on striking options. We need like a striker in January. Striker is our first priority in January. And also another backup goalkeeper. Well, the thing is, though, Andy Fisher's coming back. John McLaughlin we got until January, but Fisher should be back from injury then to back up Lawrence Vigouroux, who was one of our summer signings, who's been outstanding this season. Gonçalo Franco outstanding. Yom Ji-sung been outstanding, but then got injured, who will be back by the end of the month or early December. So we've signed some more quality players. Centre backs, we've only got Nelson Abbey to back up. Like, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to this team. Nelson Abbey is a current backup to Harry Dahl and Ben Cabango, who need their contracts sorted as soon as possible. We've got Liam Cullen's done out the way, and it's one of Andy Coleman's first major jobs as he takes full control of the club. I did not expect this at all, to see Paul Watson, Jason Levien and Steve Kaplan leave the club in the space of a few months. Obviously, Paul Watson left about September time. We were all happy. And now, with Jason Levien and Steve Kaplan leaving the club, we are even more happier. And I will never forget that first statement that Jason Levien and Steve Kaplan put out, saying that we will be competitive in and off the boardroom. We have the financial resources to be improving this club. Tell me about it. Just like Sean Dyche said, utter woke nonsense, that statement. And hopefully, with the current form we're in now, in 2 wins on a trot, going into Burnley away, we can march on up the table. But at the same time, though, I don't think we've got the depth to do it at the moment. And hopefully we can get all that work done in January, where we can hopefully march on and get a spot in the playoffs. It would be an absolute dream to see my club get promoted back to the Premier League for the departure of a disastrous sporting director and disastrous owners. Like, could you imagine that actually happen now? The only one thing is that we can't do the double on Cardiff, but at least I can't do the double on us. Obviously, if we were to get promoted one day, I mean, it'd be brilliant if we were to do it this season. It would have been even better if we'd done the double on Cardiff that season. But as long as we beat them in a reverse fixture from the 1-1 draw we had this season down at Swansea.com Stadium. To do that, though, we need to complete all our work, get more depth into our squad, get more quality in, and yeah, that's all we need to do, really. But Jason Levien, Steve Kaplan, I hope the door doesn't hit you on the way out. You should be leaving the door with blood on your hands based on what you've done to this club. Because I don't know if you could say this or not, but I don't think we'd be back in the Championship if you took over this club. I think we could have still been a Premier League club right now. Or even if we still went down, and if you backed the managers properly, we could have been a Premier League club again. But no, you didn't. You just had to let them down. You even let players down, and you let all the fans down, and you let all the journalists down during your time at the club. You literally brought nothing but shame. And I'm glad you disgraceful pair are staying away from my club. And also, I've seen a lot of complaints with DC United fans about you as well. So, DC United fans, I actually feel your pain. I thought they cared more about DC United, but DC United fans are now starting to hate on him. It doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you. I don't think he should be an owner at all. He hasn't got the balls to do it. But anyway, as we speak on to now, the man taking full control of this club, Andy Coleman. Now, he's been criticised a few times by the fans, even by myself, about him lying to Russell Martin, saying that we have got a plan for the transfer windows. To be honest with you, I think he's been brainwashed by Jason Levien and Steve Kaplan, because I've seen some of his recent statements that he cares about the club. He wasn't very happy about the owners being there. He's been let down by them. I've seen in the most recent one, Andy Coleman, he looks like he cares about this club. And I fully trust in him when he takes full control of this club. I reckon he'd be the man to invest in the right players and make Luke Williams proud. So hopefully this new era changes things, turns the tide, and march on throughout the season. So yeah, Jason Levien, Steve Kaplan, Paul Watson. Well, I mean, this video is mainly to do with Jason Levien, Steve Kaplan in the past, but Paul Watson has to be included as well. You will never be missed by my club. Anyway, guys, this really makes me look forward to the rest of the season now. And as we speak about Ben Cabango and Harry Darling, Ben Cabango, apparently we're in contract talks under him, which is good. And apparently we're scheduling a date for Harry Darling as well. Obviously, that's Andy Coleman's first priority, taking full control of the club, as I was saying earlier. Get the Ben Cabango and Harry Darling contracts sorted. Get the right players signed in January. And make Luke Williams happy. Make all the fans happy. Make all the journalists happy. Unlike these previous crooks. And yeah, bring on the rest of the season. And if you want to see my content, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, check out all my socials in the link below, as well as the World of Football podcast. And yeah, see you soon. Toodaloo, Jason Levien Steve Kaplan. You will not be missed. Peace.